Hideaway Homestead again. We're going to talk today about this plant that we have here growing on the property. It's called Beautyberries. We didn't even know what they were when we first bought the property, and we started seeing them everywhere. They grow wild here in Florida, and so we find them all over the property whenever we're out walking around and stuff. They're a pretty good plant, really. The berries grow in a little clump around where the leaves grow from, and you can use the berries to make jam or jelly or something like that out of it. The leaves are also very good to use too. They're a natural mosquito repellent. In fact, every time we come out here, and when it's hot weather, Carol always gets some of these leaves and rubs them on her exposed skin because we have mosquitoes out here because it rains so much here in Central Florida. So they're a pretty good plant to use for a whole lot of different things. So we're going to walk around a little bit and show you some more of these and see what else we can find. So let's go from here and take a look at something else. Okay, here's a close-up of some of the beautyberries that we were just talking about. You can see the color of them. They get a little bit darker purple as they get more ripe. So these are just about to the ripeness that we need them to be. As you can see, they grow around the leaves. It's like they encircle the leaf stem, and out the top also over here. Okay, this is some more of the beautyberries. Just wanted to show you that there's some of these growing in several locations. This is some more. These are actually right out here in front of the cabin, not too far from the front porch. Okay, we've recently located some more of these beautyberries. About a week or so ago, we were walking through the property again and happened to see this one here. We didn't even know it was here. And you can see several clumps of these things growing on the stem of this. And it's taller than me. You can't see it probably because it goes way up there, and it's probably 7 feet tall. So here's another stem right here. It's got several of them all along the stem.
Hello from Hideaway Homestead. It's another hot day, the middle of September, but we're going to try to gather up some of the beautyberries themselves and maybe make up a batch of the jelly to see how that tastes, and something that we get from our homestead really almost free. So we like that. Let's pick some berries and see how many it takes to make up a batch. I've already taken some of the leaves off today and coated my skin to keep the mosquitoes off, so now it's time to get some more good from this plant. Hi, we're back at Hideaway Homestead, going to turn those berries, beautyberries that we picked out at the cabin, into beautyberry jelly. The recipe that we are using suggested that first of all you clean them very well, rinse them off. That'll help get rid of any leaves or debris that is in there, as well as any spiders or bugs that decided to come along with us over here. So I'm going to get started with washing them up and separating out anything that's not supposed to be in there, and then we'll get started turning these beautyberries into beautyberry jelly. Okay, we're back ready to rinse our beautyberries that we've freshly picked today. The idea is to make sure that you've washed out any bugs that might have decided to come home with us, or to just make sure there's no debris. I went through this and made sure that there were no more leaves and big stems, just to make sure that we got what we're wanting to use for making our beautyberry jelly. Pretty color, isn't it? Okay, let me get these over into a pot on the stove. We had a little bit more fruit than was required, so that's always a good thing. We're not running short. And the recipe says to use 2 quarts of water to boil these. I've got some hot water here all ready to go, and then we'll get the rest from the sink, I guess. almost enough. This is supposed to boil for about 20 minutes just to get the juices out. I have a potato smasher here, but I noticed that the holes in the smasher are really bigger than the berries, so I don't know how much smashing will actually get done. But we'll let this cook for a good while and come back, show you how it goes from here. It's been 20 minutes and our beauty berries and the water have boiled very well, so I'm going to take this time to strain this pot of beauty berries and put it into another pot. On the back burner we have the water bath canner heating up water. It's been boiling actually, but it takes so long for that water to boil that I figured I'd go ahead and let this have some extra opportunity while we're boiling the beauty berries. Put this back on the stove and hopefully very quickly that will come back to a boil, because our next stage needs that liquid to be boiling. I'll just set this here. It didn't take it long to get back up to a rolling boil. So now I'm going to add the Sure-Gel pectin to this. That's what turns it into jelly, I guess, to make it really thick and gelled. This recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. So there goes the lemon juice. And it calls for 6 cups of sugar. All I can figure is, they say you must always use the full amount of sugar, but with the lemon juice and the tart berries that they talk about, I guess that's why it takes so much sugar to make this go. I'm going to stir this for several minutes, at least 2, but I'm going to make sure that it thickens before I take it off the stove or start filling the jars, because I want to make sure that it will gel once it is canned and that it will make jelly and not just syrup. Syrup would be good, but not as good as jelly. So we'll pick it up after this starts to coat the spoon or shows that it's thickening. Okay, the mixture here of the jelly fixings has boiled for several minutes. The internet recipe suggested 2 minutes, but then the writer also said that it didn't set. So I decided to err on the side of caution and to let this cook for a longer time. Hopefully this will set up well for us. The jars are in the water bath canner, getting hot, sterile, definitely sterile. I got out an older towel here because I'm afraid this is going to stain and I don't want to mess up something new. We have several supplies that are helpful with canning. The water bath canner is used for high acid fruits and vegetables. Really the only vegetable that I know of that you can use it for is tomatoes, because they have a good bit of acidity. We put the lids in warm but not boiling water to help the seal to be a little bit softer. The recipe calls for this to be about 1/4 of an inch from the top. I think we're about there. And I always clean the top of the jar, the glass jar, and then finger tighten this to be able to put it back in the boiling water. It is very wise to follow the procedures as they are the tested and tried and true procedures from a resource like the Ball Blue Book. I have a small one here. I understand there's one that's like an encyclopedia, almost a dictionary size, but they will give you the instructions for how long to cook things, which things can be water bath canned, and which vegetables or fruits need to go in a, no lid on there, which ones need to go in a pressure canner. Usually the pressure canner is used for ingredients that don't have a lot of acidity, or that like meats or something like that. Those all have to be pressure canned. It's not safe to use just the water bath canner for those kinds of things. We'll go ahead and fill up the rest of these jars and get them hopefully all filled up, put into the canner, and we'll let you know how many we are able to make out of this batch of Beautyberry Jelly. Okay, we boiled the jars of jelly in the water bath canner at a rolling boil for over 5 minutes. That's what the recipe called for. You cover up the jars, the tops of the jars need to be covered like about an inch with water, and then you wait and you start your timer or you start your count when it's reaching a rolling boil. You have to do that for safety measures. The Ball Blue Book for canning suggests also that after you turn off the stove, take it off the burner, that you allow it to set for 5 minutes with the lid off. That sort of brings it to a more average temperature. What we're going to do now is to remove them from the water bath canner, put them on these layers, 3 layers thick, of toweling, so that they won't hurt the counter, and it also won't be quite such a temperature contrast when you put them on the counter. We're going to be listening for the seals to snap or pop, and that means that the seal has set and that they will be good to go. We noticed that the newer jars and lids have an 18-month safety feature or use by date, where the older style, I think, was recommended at 12 months. But a lot of people have had things for a lot longer, and they've still been safe and stuff like that. But we'll see if we can make these last that long. Usually when we've got homemade goodies, we're wanting to eat them right away, and we don't have to worry about those expiration dates. Well, that one popped right there, just pulling it out. We want the lids to, there goes another one. We want the lids to be concave. That shows that the air is out of them and that they are pressure canned. So we're waiting to hear them. And sometimes they pop a little bit at first. Ooh, just about broke that one. They pop a little bit at first, and then after a while we'll hear them go again. There's a couple more of them going. We'll let these set out for a number of hours to cool and come to room temperature. As long as the seals have, the lids have become concave and they don't make a clicking sound anymore when you tap on them, then that means they're good to go, and you can put them in a preferably cool, dark place and take them out anytime in the next 18 months. After you open them, then you would need to refrigerate it. Hope this has been helpful to you. If you would, please give us a thumbs up for this video, subscribe down below, refer us to your friends and other people who you think would be interested in learning homesteading skills and using these wild berries that might be found in a Central Florida location. So, until next time, see you then.